All right, in this video, I'm going to show you how to multiply decimals correctly. So first, I want to take a look at the problems that are sitting here. Notice that this one has a dot. That is equal to multiplication. So a dot is a multiplication symbol. This one has no operation sign here. When we see a number written in parentheses next to another number and there's no operator between telling us what to do, we always assume multiplication. So this can mean multiplication. And this traditionally means multiplication. All of these symbols are equal to, they tell you to multiply. So all of these problems that you see right here are multiplication problems. So let's start with the first one. First of all, we're going to just write it as if there's no decimals in it. Okay? So notice I didn't line up decimals or do anything fancy. I just wrote them the way we would write any old multiplication problem. From there, all I do is multiply. So 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 4 is 20. I carry up that 2. 5 times 8 is 40, plus the 2 makes 42. I do not need to go on to a second row because 0 times this is still 0. Now to figure out where my decimal is going to go in my answer, I need to take a look at my problem. The 4, the 1, and the 5 are all numbers that are located after a decimal, to the right of a decimal place. So that's 1, 2, 3. So we always start at the back end, and we move it 1, 2, 3 places. So our final answer would be this. Okay, let me say that one more time. You count the number of places in your problem that happen to be after decimals, to the right of the decimal. In this case, it's 1, 2, 3. And then we start as if this was a whole number and move it that same number of places, and that determines our decimal. Let me show you that again in the second example. Example number 2 is 2 and 13/100 times, I guess I should have put a multiplication sign there, 3 and 5/10. Okay? Again, first we're just going to multiply. Forget everything else. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 1 is 5, plus the 1 is 6. And 5 times 2 is 10. Now this time I do have to do a second round of multiplication to account for that 3. So we always, every time we go down a level, we add a 0. So if we were to have to do this more times, we would add 2 zeros and then 3 zeros. But in this case, we're only going to have to go to a second level. Remember, this isn't really like multiplying by 3. It's more like 30 when we do the math. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 1 is 3. And 3 times 2 is 6. Notice I'm making sure all my numbers are lined up evenly. Now, the algorithm for multiplication tells us we then add those numbers together. So this becomes a 5. 9 and 6 make 15. 3 and 1 make 4. 6 and 1 make 7. Again, to determine where the decimal goes, we simply count the places that are after decimals in our problem. And if you notice, there's 1, 2, 3. We start at the back end, 1, 2, 3. So our final answer looks like this. All right, I hope that helps when you guys get home tonight and that you come to school ready to rock out a short little quiz on adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing decimals.